everyone. This is Jan from New York City, and my channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. Hey, how's everybody doing on this bright and beautiful Thursday morning? Well, at least I hope it is for everyone. Hope that everybody's feeling well today. If you're not feeling so great today, as always, I hope that you're feeling better real soon. Hey, we got Steve on the line again today. Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you kindly for coming back for part two. In case you missed yesterday's show, go back to yesterday's show and review part one because Steve and I were talking about online selling. Now, online selling is a great option for anyone. Number one, the startup cost is about like practically zero. Anyone can do it. You just need to have the thing to sell and the desire to make the money. You can make money doing this, but we sort of left off on sort of kind of a cliffhanger last show because we were going to delve in a little bit more deeply into the possibility of problems with certain platforms and the need to be more careful. Is that correct, Steve, on Craigslist?
Yes, you have it right.
Okay, so did you have any direct experience, or is this just something that you know of, or what happened?
Well, the only experience that I have, I'll go ahead and share it with you out in the open. This was about 13 years ago, I had a DAT, D-A-T, recorder. It's a digital audio tape deck. What it was a tape recorder that was about the size of an 8mm video camera tape, but you would use it to record audio and things like that with it. So I ran it on Craigslist, and I had this man send me an email saying that I would send him the merchandise, but he would cut me a cashier's check and overnight it to me UPS. And I said, wait a minute. And the way it was written up, the email, I said, hold on a minute. I said, this guy's, he thinks he's slick. He thinks he's a shyster, going to try to pull one over on me. So I wrote him back and I said, well, thank you for the offer. I appreciate it, but I do not send merchandise first and then receive funds later. It doesn't work like that with me. You purchase my item, you give me my money. It's a one-shot, one-deal thing. And I also mentioned as well, I only accept cash. I will not accept checks. I will not accept a cashier's check, money order, even though that is a better method than the other two. But cash is what I told him. But I wound up deleting the message and never heard back from him.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful that you were aware of it. I'm sorry that happened to you. But thank you for sharing that, possibility. Yes, we have to be very careful to avoid possible scam artists out on Craigslist or other platforms as well. And just, you also mentioned a really good point about mentioning in the description ad what you expect. You expect to be paid in cash. Okay, so when we get back, we're going to take a little bit of a break. And when we get back, we're going to talk precisely a little bit in more depth about how to present a really good eye-catching ad. Be right back. Hey, thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate your time. Steve, we're going to talk a minute about effective ad writing. Do you have any really good tips that you could offer to us, in terms of writing an ad for eBay or Craigslist or any other platform, online selling platform for that matter?
The only thing I can give advice to people is whenever you go and want to sell something on whatever platform you choose, if you have a good mental picture of what it is, what it does, you pretty much really don't have to do any type of research. You can pretty much just go to a place where you would make up your ad before you copy and paste it, because that's what I do. I have an app that's on my phone, and I can go in there and just write my description from memory. A lot of the time that's what I do. And then once I have it down, I go back and look for any errors or have to put any punctuation and periods in or whatnot. Once I have that down, all I do is just hold my finger, the word paste comes up or copy, I just grab it, and then I go over to where I want to incorporate what I wrote, and boom, 2 clicks, my description is in, wherever I'm going to run my ad.
So using the copy and paste method is certainly a time saver. And what I have found in my experience of ad writing, I believe this to be true. Keep the title of the ad short and sweet and to the point. And not boring. Try to use interesting words. But in your description, that's the time to tell a tale. And certainly, please, anyone viewing this, be absolutely accurate and truthful in your ad. If the thing you're selling is only available in the color black, say so. Don't let the buyer think they could get it in red. If the thing you're selling looks weathered, don't make it sound like it looks brand new and came out of a bandbox. No, you have to be absolutely honest, because guess what? If you color it up in a way, your ad, that it's not really truthful, number one, it's wrong. Number two, the potential buyer is going to eventually find out, especially if they bother to make the purchase. It will come back to haunt you. And now listen, we're going to take another break, and I'm going to talk to you about a very interesting experience I had. But then I'm going to talk to Steve prior to that about sources and ways to get stuff to sell beyond the closet. Be right back. Hey, just a quick note of thanks and gratitude for all of you folks that have come here, stopped by, viewed the video, and have considered subscribing and have actually subscribed to this channel. I thank you so much. Thank you for clicking like, and please don't hesitate to share my videos. I really, really do appreciate you and everything you do. Don't forget. Thank you so much. Now back to the show. Thanks so much for sticking around, getting right back to it. Steve, I think you wanted to make another point from the prior segment. What was that?
Okay, the only thing I wanted to include is from time to time, you're, cleaning out your garage or, going through some old things that you want to part ways with. There may be times you'll come across an item that you have absolutely no knowledge of. So I highly encourage each and every one of you, if you don't know what it is, please go to Google and type in what the item is, and do about roughly 10 minutes worth of research on it. Look and see what it's about to give you a mental idea. And then when you go to do your ad, to run it on whatever platform it is, whatever you choose, I would take a few lines or to get the gist of what the item is in my head. I would copy and paste it, and then I would incorporate it within my own write-up, because I don't want it to look 2-minute detail.
Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
I really do know what it is.
Yeah.
If I mix it in with my own wording along with theirs and kind of modify it, then it kind of works.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. That really sounds like your streamlining matters that way too. So, okay, let's also continue on with the other question, which was, what other sources other than what happens when your closet has now been emptied, your attic, your garage, or whatever? What happens when you want to continue selling because you got the selling bug? And I don't blame anyone for getting it, because it is a satisfying thing to do. What other sources can you get to sell from what other places?
Matter of fact, to answer your question, that's very simple. I mean, all of us in our neighborhoods where we live, every weekend, you always have a garage sale to go to. If not in your area, in whatever city that you live in. That's one way of getting your items. You could also go to a thrift store and get them. You could come across some really good stuff there. Sometimes you tend to come across stuff that still has the tags on it, just to throw that out there. like new merchandise.
Can I go ahead?
Let's say in your subdivision where you live or in an apartment complex, a few places or a few houses down, people throw stuff away all the time. And that's not always in bad condition. So you go down and look at it, and that gives you, a thing or two. And if you go to a dumpster in an apartment complex or even sitting outside the dumpster, a lot of the time you can find stuff there. So there are other ways than just looking at your own stuff that you have that you
Right. Steve, I got to tell you something
Yeah.
very, very quickly. One of my subscribers a year ago, she was so kind to share this. She saw one of my last year's shows of inspiration to online selling, and she got so stoked about it. The very next day, she just happened upon in her own housing unit or wherever it was, somebody threw away a perfectly brand new with the tags on designer jeans. So for the simple cost of retrieving it from where she found them, they were perfect in every way. I believe she made it was either $47 or $50 for the cost of placing a free ad on eBay, I believe. Not a bad chunk of change for just writing an ad. I say that works. So listen, when we come back, I'm going to talk about a unique experience that I had on Craigslist. Be right back. Hey, thank you so much for coming back. I want to share a unique experience that I had. It was an unfortunate experience for a wonderful, wonderful family. I was living somewhere else, and at that time, a bell was ringing frantically at my doorstep. It was like a two-family house. No, excuse me, a four-family house, making a long story short. And these people were frantically looking for their relative who was not answering a phone call. So I invited them in. I said, "You're more than welcome to stay here." Had them have a little breakfast, calm them down. We suggested to call emergency services to check. They could not reach their relative. The gentleman was not answering his phone at work or at home for days. So naturally, that raised their level of concern and suspicion. As it turned out, unfortunately, the gentleman had passed away. But this left the family not only in shock and horror, and by the way, it was Christmas Eve morning to make matters even more dramatically sad on that day, very sensitive time. And make a long story short, one person lost their brother, another person, it was their father. That person couldn't be here, the daughter, because she lived in another state. And her main concern, of course, the grieving of her dad. But her next main concern was, what am I going to do with the contents of the unit? And that's where I voluntarily wanted to help her as a favor, totally as a favor, an act of charity, to list every item in the unit. Would you know that within 1 week, I managed to sell on Craigslist a refrigerator, tables and chairs, odd looking furniture, and as it turned out, the buyer of that furniture needed it for a stage production in a dramatic play for a school. So these are things that one never thinks of. There were a whole bunch of little things, small appliances, odds and ends. And I miraculously, with the help of goodness above, managed to sell and empty out the entire unit. So anyway, it was time to let the young lady know everything was sold, blah, blah, to the tune of $750 about. And I said, please, come here and collect your money. No, 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 I want you to have it. No, no, no. I says, this was, my act of charity to you, and thank you very much. And she was like, no, no, no. Well, anyway, long story short, a few weeks later, she had to come into town for her dad's memorial service. And she insisted that I keep half of that fund. She insisted it would make her feel better. So never overlook possible ways. In my case, I just wanted to do it to be nice. But there are people out there that if they hear of someone that may have lost a family member and they're having great difficulty figuring out, well, what am I going to do with all their stuff? Think about that. You're helping them and you're helping yourself. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to come back and with a cup of coffee in the morning. Tomorrow, meaning Friday, going to come back with a cup of coffee to discuss a way that I had a little bit of a problem with eBay that should never have happened. We're talking the truth here, so come back on Friday morning for that chat. Steve, I want to take a moment to thank you for your time coming back twice. That was really cool. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
We really, really appreciate it. And in the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City and Steve. Have a great day. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for the chat. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you.